What's up guys, back again this week with another Pro Series video. We're going to go back to Bowie, Texas. We're going to talk to Ben Baldus a little bit more. This time we're talking about starting your horses. He's going to talk about how he starts his 2-year-olds in the Loping Hakkamore and moves them into your Snaffle bits and then on into the shank bits. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Ben Baldus. We're here at Baldus Horsemanship today. I want to take a second and show you guys some of the different headgear that we use starting these colts and riding these young horses. We start over here with a Loping Hakkamore. This Loping Hakkamore is soft and it's similar to a halter. They've all been halter broken when we get them. And this is the best way to start a colt, and the softest way. Translates as you tip their nose, they feel that pressure on the other side of their nose like a halter. And we ride them in this for several weeks, loping them around, getting them broke to just stop and back up, and you just follow that feel right and left. That's a Loping Hakkamore there. As we move towards our Snaffle bits, we might use like this egg butt, okay, kind of an O-ring style, smooth snaffle. We go from that Loping Hakkamore to smooth snaffle. Or we have a loose O-ring, and this snaffle is very lightweight, and the diameter of the snaffle is rather large. You can see that's a larger snaffle. The larger diameter of the bit, the softer the bit is. The narrower the snaffle, the more bite and the more pressure it has. As we look at the different snaffles, we're thinking about what it feels like in the horse's mouth, and also as you pull the rein, how it feels when it slides through the mouth, and then the cheek gets bumped on the off side by the snaffle bit. So you notice this O-ring is very soft on that cheek. We've got some other D-rings that might have a little bit more pressure coming across with a little bit more of a point on their cheek. So here's a really soft snaffle, really light. Some of our fillies that are really sensitive, or even a couple of stud colts, they like this lighter snaffle. Large diameter, very soft. And then here's a snaffle that's a little bit of a twisted wire towards the center on their tongue. So the bars are soft and smooth, but just a little bit more pressure on their tongue. And that offers just a little bit different feel, a little more pressure. If you need a little bit more backup or maybe a little bit more softness, you can use that one. And then here we have two what we call square stock snaffles. And both these snaffles are square. They're smooth across it, but square. And what that does is it just allows a little bit more pressure on that horse's cheek and tongue as you're softening that horse to get a little bit more flexion, a little bit more yield off of his bars, off of his cheek. And that square has just a little bit more pressure to it. And those are some of the Loping Hakkamore snaffle combinations that we'll use on those 2-year-olds for the first year of training. Here we have two bridle bits, two leverage bits. This is an A-frame correctional made by Jim Edwards. It's a larger diameter, really light on the horse's bars, and the A-frame allows that horse plenty of tongue relief, and the correctional, being hinged in the middle and jointed, allows the lateral flexion. So if a 3-year-old perhaps is going to need just a little bit more collection, maybe it's going to be a reining horse, or maybe it's going to be more of a rope horse and they're going to ride it in a bridle, we might put that 3-year-old in this style of bridle. It's rigged up with a leather curb strap, flat leather curb strap, because those babies have never felt that pressure underneath their chin. And right underneath the bars of their chin can be very sensitive. You know, sometimes you'll grab a horse here on those bones, and when you touch him, he's going to pick his head up because that's very sensitive. And a horse that's never had pressure underneath his chin needs to be started in a leather curb strap. It's going to be soft and loose, and that's going to make that transition easier. You'll notice on this bit that the shank is shorter and swooped back. That allows more lateral flexion and more softness to the side because we're not getting as much vertical compounded pressure as we would if it was a longer shanked bit. Next to it, after a 3-year-old's been in this for a while and they understand the pressure, then we might go ahead and use a solid mouthpiece. Here we have the square port. It's a little bit narrower diameter, so it's got a little bit more severe pressure than the first one. And it's also rigged up on the same shank. So our shank feels the same. The leverage feels very similar. It's also rigged up with a leather curb strap, so it's soft on the bony part of his chin. But the square port solid mouthpiece just gives us a little bit more pressure. And sometimes if you have a horse that's really wiggly and you can't control the shoulders the way you want, maybe in a rundown you're running to that stop and he's leaning right with his shoulder, then left, and he's wiggling all over the place. The correctional is sometimes too loose and jointed and flops around. Putting a solid mouthpiece can sometimes help that horse get straighter and line his body up to help you get a better stop. And these are two of the bits that we use every day. They're out here to be used, and they get used on a lot of the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, and really feel great on those horses. They really like them.